If you have children or have been around children, you know how challenging they can be to your leadership. While it is one of the greatest achievements, I believe, in leadership is to raise a child, it's also one of the most challenging. And I want to take a look at how having a baby has challenged my leadership. Now, this is not parenting advice in the least. Actually, it's more so what my 2-year-old son has taught me in those 2 years about my leadership. So we're going to look at the 3 lessons I've learned that have actually made me view leadership and shift the way that I lead, both in my home as well as in my business. Now, I have to encourage the parents, right? Because parents, it is you who actually have one of the greatest challenges and greatest achievements in leadership. I mean, look, as a parent, it's our responsibility to literally grow someone from knowing absolutely nothing to hopefully being ready to go and make a positive impact on the world. And isn't that what leadership is? Helping someone to grow into their full potential and then go make an impact on the world. And so I believe that raising a child is one of the greatest achievements in leadership that anyone can achieve. You know what? There may be sometimes that it's just not working out with you and someone you're leading. Maybe it's an employee or a volunteer. And you know what? You can just fire them or move them to a different department. You can't really do that with a child. And so that's why it's one of the greatest achievements, is because you have to stick through it. No, through all those challenges. You can't just quit in the middle or fire the person because you're stuck with them. And the other thing I believe makes it one of the greatest achievements is it's not a year or two. You're not working with someone with a project, or maybe you spend a couple of years working with this person, or maybe you're mentoring someone for a year or two. It's for 18 years. And well, with the millennials nowadays, sometimes it's a little bit longer than that they're stuck with you at home. And so I believe that raising a child is one of the greatest things that a leader, and yes, I'm talking to you parents, especially stay-at-home mums, I want to encourage you. You are one of the greatest leaders on the planet. So thank you for your service. So the first lesson I learned from how having a baby challenged my leadership was the fact that things just don't go to plan. That's right. I know some of you right now that send shivers up your spine. For me, who's so organized, so structured, so controlled, that yes, it seems uneasy and almost impossible. I used to think it all the time. No, you know what? Look, everything. I'm going to structure things. I'm going to spend time with my child, and I'm going to raise them in the right way. And I'm going to invest to structure, and I'm going to research, and I'm going to prepare, and I'm going to study, and all the things that I learned in the books, I'm going to make it work. My child's not going to be like that. Did you think that? Did you think that before you had a child? My kid's not going to be that kid running around snotty nose and making a mess in Bunnings or whatever. You know what, maybe you thought, you know what, my kid's going to have the perfect sleep pattern because I'm going to follow the rules in the books, and I'm going to do all the right things before bedtime and give them the routine, and they're always going to sleep at the right times. You know what I'm talking about. Or, you know what, my house is always going to be organized. It's always going to be tidy. I'm going to have a spot that they can make a mess with. I'm guilty of that. I know all of you experienced parents are laughing at me because that's how I started out. I'm going to have a spot, and I'm going to have a structure. I'm going to have a system, and my son is going to learn that system. Right now, you walk out into our house and there are toys literally sprayed everywhere because my wife had to leave quickly before, to give me space to be able to record. Otherwise, he'll be screaming in the background, and the place is messy. So things aren't always going to go as planned or as expected. And so one of the greatest ways that my leadership was challenged was I had to release my expectations. I couldn't expect things to all go exactly to plan. I know that you say to yourself before you have a child, I'm never going to let my kid watch TV. I'm never going to let them eat sugar. I'm always going to sit down and help them read and play and everything like that. Next, your kid is sitting there sucking a lollipop, watching Wiggles, while you're just trying to get a moment of peace. So as leaders, we have to get rid of our expectations, because I've been really challenged in my leadership that I expect things to happen a certain way. And I must admit that as a leader, but also as a coach, I'm going to raise my hand and admit fault for most of the coaches on the planet. That most coaches and teachers, we live in a bubble. Everything in theory is perfect, right? Everything in theory is ideal. I read all the baby books, and yes, they say it all right, all the routines, everything like that. And it works in theory until you have a kid screaming his head off, wanting his dummy and won't stop screaming and throwing things and breaking things, and you just have to give him his dummy, right? So there's sometimes we have to just get rid of our expectations. And I'll tell you what, that's one thing that I've been really challenged with my leadership with my son, is I have now changed the way that I coach people, the way that I lead people, the way that I lead my home, lead my business, lead my team. I've completely changed the way that I approach things, because while I still plan and prepare for the best, and yes, I believe the best, I have removed all expectations that I live in this ideal world, because it's not an ideal world. So as leaders, we have to just remove expectations, still plan and prepare, but remove any expectations that everything will happen in an ideal world. Hope this has helped you grow in your leadership. And hey, if it has, put a comment below, like this video, and hey, it would be amazing if you would consider subscribing. See you in the next video.